Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're back in the building once again. The playoffs are heating up right now. We know who's going to be in the East on one side of the draw, right, for the Eastern Conference Finals. We know who's going to be on the West on one side of that side of the draw. There's still some game sixes to navigate through. Obviously, one tonight, Okc-Denver. And then tomorrow night, the Celtics, the Knicks, can it go to a game 7? Can either of them go to a game 7? We don't know. We don't know. There's been a few shocks, some big games. And we got some draft lottery to also talk about in a little bit of time. But as always, my guy CM in the building once again. What are you saying, bro?
We're there, man. Big up yourself, bro. Big ups to everybody in the chat that's gonna be watching even after the stream ends. Large ups to Chino as well, because he may not be here right now. We've been clowning him a lot on stream, but he's holding it down. He has some important business to attend to. So the big three will be whole one day. But for now, it's me and Roland holding down the fort.
Come on. Chino, them fines are racking up though. I can't lie. Hey, when I see you next on stream, you're gonna have to pay up, you know.
Hey, this is he didn't sign up for any leave. He didn't sign up, bro. He just left. We saw a video in the sauna. What's going on there? Camera turned off. We're hearing vehicles going do 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 do.
Hey. The bank heist. He did the bank heist.
There's some shady things going on here. Because we know Chino's got business to handle. But what kind of business is that?
What are you into right now? You're into some business right now that we don't want to be in any parts of, because you know the Ricos are flying out. You know what I'm saying? We don't want any parts of it.
Listen.
Hey, big up Chino. Hey, before we break things down, people, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button as well. If you hit the notification bell, all that good stuff right there. Pros Only Sports. We're kicking it off. With last night. Celtics, they force a game 6. A few narratives around the game. The Luke Cornett game nearly got a triple-double, a career high, 7 blocks on the night. JB nearly get himself a triple-double, 26, 12 assists, which is a career high for him. And I think 8 rebounds for himself. Derek White, obviously top scoring, I think with 34 or 36 points in the game. And the reality of the situation is obviously Jason Tatum gets injured in the game 4. Prayers out to him, man. I feel for him, because this guy has been one of the NBA's Iron Man. Plays every game. He doesn't want to sit out. I believe it's since he's been drafted into the league, he's played the most minutes of any player that's been in the league at that particular point in time. So I think this is a culmination of a lot of wear and tear on his body, because you put your body on the line every night you go onto that floor. And unfortunately for him, his night ended on I think it was Monday night or whenever it was, for game 4. Goes out with 42 points as well. He was looking like he was going to have one of them kind of games too. So, you know, it didn't end up well. Celtics lose. But you go into this game 6, and me, I had the belief that the Celtics weren't going to lie down at home. I felt that they were going to get that win yesterday, and they did. And it was an inspired performance where, if we're being totally honest, no one should be surprised that the Celtics were going to do this, right? Because the team has been constructed to face whenever there's a moment where one of their players are out. Everyone calls it a super team. So somebody has to step up and do what they need to do. And to be honest, it's even a preview into next season, because JT's most likely going to be out for most of that season. So JB's going to be the guy that's going to have to lead this team to a lot of victories. And it was interesting after that game 4, going 3-1 down, everyone was like, it's over. People were talking about Celtics are going to tank and all this type of stuff. I'm like, if they're not tanking, like the Celtics, even without JT, is probably a 50-win team in the league, right? They're competing for a championship even without JT. It's like, it's unfortunate he's not there, and I hope he gets better soon. But at the same time, we don't need to rush, because the team is pretty much there. Of course, there will be changes next year, but we got to navigate this season first. And I'm proud of the effort that they put in last night. And the difference was, defensively, everybody was connected. You saw JB picking up Jalen Brunson, full court, going through screens, making sure he met him at different points, we did switch at certain points in time, but the matchup was always there. And what they was able to do on the defensive end was to make sure that, you know, there was a couple of instances where he picked up offensive fouls, you know, get him into foul trouble. You know, that mismatch is crazy. That's who they hunt when they're on the offensive end. And then defensively, they make sure to do their job too. So, you know, shout out to JB because he has to put the team on his back if they want to go back to back at this point in time. And I don't think it's over. I think if they win tomorrow night, and it's game 7. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna go out on this the way that they went out in that Miami series. I can't see it happening. I think they go full tilt and go through that game 7 and get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But that's just my take.
Interesting, man. I mean, that game 4 where Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are dueling it out, that was the game in the series I think everybody was waiting for. You know, not one of these games where one team is up 20, then the team fights back. It was a competitive game down the stretch. And like you said, it's a shame that Jason Tatum ended up getting injured. Now, over to this game, in the group chat, we were kind of clowning the situation, looking past this series already, saying, hey, you know, it is what it is for Boston, the Knicks versus the Pacers. And, you know, if they finish it off, New York, that is, it will be interesting to speak about that series once we get to the time, because it is a proper grudge series, not just historically, but even in recent times too. When we think about last year's playoffs and how it ended sadly for the New York Knicks. So yeah, I think great performances from Luke Cornett, Derek White, Jaylen Brown. You mentioned his career high in assists in the playoffs, I believe.
Yep.
Really picking up that mantle, because Jason Tatum is a guy who takes on that responsibility as one of those wings that want to play, making get other guys involved. So he did a really good job in that regard. New York didn't shoot the ball well. And one thing about the Boston Celtics, right, is when they play with a level of fluidity as a team, when everybody's involved, everybody's getting touches, minimal dribbles in that sense, but a lot of touches on the ball, sharing the rock, shooting good shots, and just overall creating an offense that is unpredictable and unguardable in a sense. That is when you see the best of the Boston Celtics. And I feel like they went back to that last night, when they're in somewhat of a survival mode, trying to stay in the series, playing for their guy who just got injured, playing to, you know, to remain, because at this moment of time, they're still the reigning champions of the league. The minute they get knocked out of the playoffs, their title's gone and their ring is old news. So they will play to survive. And the next game at MSG, there'll be a lot of pressure on the New York Knicks to deliver, because it's bad enough that you can't close it out in 5. But once you get to game 6 now, you have to close it out. Yeah. You had the insurance policy in game 5, but now you're at home. The fans are going to be rowdy. The anticipation is going to be high, but there's also going to be a nervous energy in the atmosphere, because everybody that's in those front row seats, all of the celebrities that are turning up to watch the game, are anticipating seeing the New York Knicks reach the Eastern Conference Finals. Everybody that's going to be up there in the rafters and the crowd, they're going to be watching that game closely, hoping that their team come out with a level of intensity to match what I believe will be a hungry Boston side to try and prove themselves, because Jaylen Brown is the reigning Finals MVP. A lot of the time, even before that last year's playoff run, he was a guy that went under the radar. We've come on this pod and said that at times Jaylen Brown has been Boston's best player, most consistent player.
Last three seasons in the playoffs, we've sat down and watched games together, right, through this Celtics runs, and said JB's been the best player on the team.
Yeah, Tatum's the X factor, but Jaylen Brown's the guy who usually keeps it ticking on both ends of the floor. So he's gonna want to step up, but then you see what other guys on the team are capable of in terms of Derek White is a guy who, when his number is called, like on the Knicks, we've been speaking about OG Anunoby and his rise in terms of being a guy who can score the ball as well as defend. Derek White is one of those guys too. It's a shame what's happening with Kristaps Porzingis. I just feel like he has not been fit enough, but at the same time, the reasons behind why he is suffering with such illnesses is very vague. There's not a lot that's been put out there, so essentially he's a non-factor for the Boston Celtics in this playoff run. So you're gonna have to get something from the likes of Luke Cornett. It's a good thing that Al Horford is still going strong in that sense, which is wild because he's literally an elder statesman on the team, but he has to hold it down because somebody like Kristaps can't play a lot of minutes, can't contribute to the level he should be contributing to on his team. And this is a guy who last playoffs we were speaking about being one of the X factors on the team and saying, well, if we have Kristaps, it's game over. This campaign, not so much. So Boston keep themselves alive, and that's all they can do. You were down 3-1, win one game, take it game by game, and see what happens. Game 6, you're heading to MSG. You are going to be the villains. The pressure, while there may be pressure on Boston, the pressure's not exactly going to be on them all the way because you're stepping in Madison Square Garden with a team who, even though they haven't had bundleload of success over the years, especially the last decade or so, the expectation is for them to be successful.
It's very high.
The expectation is high, especially with the team that they assembled ever since when we look at a few years ago when they got back into the playoffs with the Julius Randle seasons and so forth. The expectations have only been rising. You make a trade to try and improve your chances this season. So they have to get it done for me in game 6, because if you let it get to a game 7, we've heard it plenty of times. Anything can happen. And even if the Knicks end up winning a game 7, they're still going to come away from that. They're not going to come away from it unscathed.
Yeah. It's going to be at some cost, I think. Big up to Riri in the building. She's saying, why JB grabbing and kneeing people in the crotch last night? Hey, I don't know. All I know is we got the win. JB was diving into the bench, saving possessions, man. Like, he was doing everything, man. And I'm glad he's on my team. I hate the fact that people like to pit him and JT together. I hate the fact that people, whenever he makes a mistake, they're like, you got to trade him. He's not going nowhere. In the team, JT, JB, and Derek White are untouchables. Everybody else is up for grabs, I believe, from the offseason onwards anyway. Big up to man like SK. Cavs went outside. We're going to talk about them in a bit. Big up yourself, bro. Jamal Murray, illness, questionable tonight. I'm sorry. He has to play because Jokic is tired. I'm just saying it as it is. He's been carrying that team this whole regular season. He is tired. He needs help. Russ is the only guy giving him help. I'm just being real. Teams 3-1 up win 95% of the time. Yeah, the statistics show it. The statistics tell it. It's very true. But I have that belief that tomorrow, if the Celtics get that series back to 3-3, they're gonna win in 7 at home on Tuesday night. After what happened in that Miami series when they was this close to getting it back, I don't think they're gonna allow. They're not lying down. They're just gonna come out, because the thing about it's gonna be interesting. Both teams tomorrow night will have to come out with urgency, because the Knicks lacked it in the game against the Celtics. I think in the first half they were good, like they were doing what they needed to do, but then the mistakes start to happen. Guys getting into foul trouble quite early into the game, fouling too much as well, like just across the team, and then all of a sudden Celtics in the bonus. They got 9 minutes of bonus time in the third quarter. Like, they have to clean up those little things, and I think it's going to be a chess match tomorrow. And I'm still expecting, because like JB had a big game last night, but I think that's his best game in this playoff so far. I'm expecting an even bigger game from him in game 6. So we'll see. Riri saying OG's been trash. I think he has not. He's had
a few duds.
Yeah, he's had some good moments and not so many good moments. Yeah, I can agree with that. It's been a bit of a hit and miss type of thing. heard a couple of things about Porzingis. I'll keep to myself. Hey,
I've seen some things on social.
Let's not start the narratives.
Man saying he has certain symptoms.
Hey. Nah, your crybaby JT's gonna get traded before JB. Both of them ain't going nowhere. It's just the facts. Like it'd be the dumbest thing ever for the Celtics organization to hit a panic button because of this situation. Like you go home early when you weren't expecting to, blah blah blah. Like the reality is them two are untouchable alongside Derek White. Unless you get in like something crazy for Derek White, he ain't going nowhere. But the rest of them, yeah, after this season, we can start talking about all of them. I can't lie. Like Kristaps, he's getting 30 million a year. It's expiring contract. We gotta send him somewhere. I need something back. Get me a Miles Turner. Like get me, give me somebody. Give me somebody else. Somebody that can shoot. And he's gonna get into the mix. He's gonna get some rebounds. Like, but big up to Moss. He's saying OG ain't trash. We know why you saying that. SGA the MVP, CM22, and Moss know it. Tonight is the night.
It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time.
Shay can mark it in the calendar tonight in Denver. He can mark it tonight and become the MVP. It's so strange how they've left it so late.
You know what? I hate that. I remember like back in the days when they announced the MVP, hold up the trophy to start the first series, and none in it. Now it's time to get to work, because realistically, cool, it's always a great moment. You get announced MVP, but for me, get that out of the way. You can celebrate that afterwards, but right now we've got to focus on the playoff game. And at the end of the day, all I'm focusing on right now is tonight, winning this game, closing out the series.
Yeah,
in Denver. It's a tough job as is.
If you saw the game was it Sunday night? Was that game 4 or 5? I forgot what game it was. That was the one I watched. When I tell you, defensively, OKC were doing different things, bro. The first quarter, they held Denver to 8 points. It was different, but
that game, it was like in a half, it was so low scoring. Like the physicality, the defense on both ends. We'll speak about it, right? But it's just that series has been interesting for a multitude of reasons.
Good win last night for the Celtics. Painful torn Achilles. Oh man, I feel for him. I feel for him so much. You ruptured yours before. Takes one longer. Yeah, he's had the surgery quickly, so hopefully, he can get back to his best at least. You know what I'm saying? We're hoping that he doesn't come back a different type of player. He just can continue on the same path. But prayers up to JT, man. He might not win it tonight, but we'll take it for 7. Take it in 7, for sure for SGA. Jimmy's officially a shell of himself. We're gonna touch on the points right here. Playoff Jimmy, is that a thing of the past? I don't know. But the Timberwolves, back-to-back Western Conference Finals, where when we're looking at the season in terms of regular season, obviously we know the playoffs is everything kind of goes back to the level playing field, everything 0-0. But their season didn't look like it was going to end up with them in the Western Conference Finals, the Timberwolves. And after winning the series against the Warriors 4-1, you're looking at them and you're saying they are peaking at the right time, especially from March. They've been one of the best teams in the NBA, probably second best team, just behind OKC in net rating. So, some of the smaller details are showing out on the court. And a star like Anthony Edwards, a stacked roster as well. You look at the depth in their roster, like that trade that they made for Cap. At the time, I was like, they won the trade. I actually don't think anybody lost in that regard. I think both teams gained. However, the Timberwolves definitely gained a lot more, I think, just because now you have Julius Randle coming in there, right? And I feel like he's also understood his role in this team, where, he doesn't have the responsibility of, essentially being the number one guy in the team. Like I kind of was looking, like everyone was looking in his direction when he was in New York, until it kind of fell apart for him, where I think he was struggling with Jalen Brunson kind of rising to the top and being the number one guy in the team. So eventually they had to move off from him. And he goes into this team and he's He's 30 years old now. He's given veteran presence to Anthony Edwards, right? Where last year in the playoffs, Anthony Edwards was running ragged, right? Probably his conditioning wasn't at the right level, where he was tiring himself out in games late, trying to chase around the team's best player. We've seen him struggle in the double team, right? Can't pass out, turning over the ball late in games. He's improved his three ball, right, this season, and you've seen him use that across the regular season and into the playoffs, right, where he can get himself out of a tight jam when he knows guys are going to blitz him and double team him. So having that alongside a DiVincenzo, who's also accepted his role, I think he was really relishing being in New York around his former college teammates and being maybe a starting player for New York, and it didn't work out. He's embraced his role coming off the bench and contributing to the team on both ends of the floor. Jalen McDaniels, shout out to him. He has definitely been the defensive identity or the leader of the defensive identity in this team. You saw it in the playoff series against the Lakers, where he picked up Luka Doncic in all assignments across that series, and he's done it again, right? Maybe not, as I said last week, it's the assignment might be different on a different night because the Warriors are a bit different. You know, Steve Kerr likes to use a lot of different players, so you don't know who you're going to be picking up any given night or any given moment within the game, but he still came up to the challenge. And now, big up to Naz Reid, who's now, you know, he got paid, right? And he's also been given a near enough starting role in this team alongside Rudy Gobert, who a lot of people are writing off a little bit, you know, because they were thinking to themselves, you can't guard on the perimeter, but he's been showing that he can guard anywhere. You know, another stellar defensive performance across this playoffs run for Rudy Gobert too. So shout out to Chris Finch, man. I gotta shout him out because he's showing that he's a really good coach coming from humble beginnings. If you know his story, he was a coach in England over here, right, for a team in Sheffield 15 years ago. To be in back-to-back Western Conference Finals is no mean feat. He had one assistant in his whole coaching staff. It was just him and the assistant. They were washing the team's kits after games 15 years ago. Now look at where he is, man. You got to shout him out, man. It's big. It's big, man. Like, what's your thoughts on the Timberwolves, bro? Back-to-back Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, it's a great achievement. Everybody on that roster developed, and you know, you mentioned about Julius Randle and his role. I remember early on in that, you know, trade, Anthony Edwards spoke about empowering Julius Randle and, you know, making sure that he's confident, he's poised, and he's not hesitant in the role that he has on this Timberwolves team. When he needs to score, when he needs to pick his spots, he will do so. And he's been doing that this postseason. He's been one of their most consistent performers in that sense offensively. It has another good game, 29 points to close out the series. And he's aggressive getting to the rim. He's shooting the shot with confidence as well with that free ball. So Anthony Edwards, he hasn't had that breakout performance per se in recent games, but he's keeping it ticking. He's improved playmaking. He's still getting that scoring on the board. May not be as aggressive in terms of getting to the rim, but he's getting everybody involved, and that's the most important thing. Giving everybody touches. He's mentioned Jaden McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo off the bench, who, you know, isn't spoken about enough when it comes to that trade, but for me is a gritty player who competes on both ends of the floor. So, you know, a really good player in that sense. Naz Reid, who for me is one of the best shooting big men, if you could call him that, but you know, in the league. Coming off the bench and is a guy that can shoot you lights out. A couple games ago, this guy was just free after free after free, draining it. So this Timberwolves team is extremely dangerous when they're flying, and I think the Golden State Warriors, they couldn't keep up with them on the defensive end. I mean, especially in that closeout game, at times that defense the lane looked wide open, inviting guys to just drive inside and finish at the rim. And somebody mentioned Jimmy Butler. I think it was Riri. Jimmy, they needed him. Of all people, they needed him to, because this is why you bring in a Jimmy Butler. You bring in a Jimmy Butler because of what he's done in the past for Miami, because what he did in Minnesota, all of that stuff there. Because the minute and this is the thing, yeah, what I feel like happened to Golden State. You win game one, you're supposed to have momentum, you're supposed to have joy. But the minute Curry goes down, all of those feelings, those momentous feelings get overturned because it's like, what are we going to do now? Jimmy Butler has to be the guy to galvanize. Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, those guys have to galvanize the troops. Sadly, Jimmy Butler on the offensive end was not good enough at all in this series. And that's something that he's and the entire team are going to have to think about moving forward, because yes, Steph will return from this hamstring. He will be ready to go, fingers crossed, next season, as long as nothing happens throughout the summer. But this Golden State team will be thinking about how they can compete next season and how they can continue the level and improve upon their previous campaign ultimately. And, we can speak about Jonathan Kuminga, who at this stage of his Golden State career he's a restricted free agent this summer. So most likely he will be gone, and Golden State will try to construct a deal to potentially get somebody back in return if they can. Well, they will be able to essentially if they decide to match an offer. But Kuminga's a strange one, right? Because we know the talent that he has, but Steve Kerr only plays him when he's in desperation mode, i.e., he needs somebody, an extra body on the court. So we know offensively the talent that he has, the untapped potential. We do see some weaknesses in his game, especially in terms of his concentration in important moments defensively. And that is the most important thing, I feel like, at times when it comes to teams that want to contend and don't exactly have the patience to develop. Golden State a few years ago, they had all of the opportunities in the world for a guy like Kuminga and Jordan Poole and so forth, when they were trying to empower the young guys to step up and join the likes of Steph, Clay, and Draymond in creating a new era with pre-existing stars and then stars on their way up. But that isn't the case anymore. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him in the summer and how that shapes what the Golden State Warriors are going to be. Jimmy Butler, no doubt, needs to be better, because I believe he's still signed there for a good couple of years, I think.
Yeah, if I'm correct. I think it was a 2-year deal, I think.
Yeah, so he'll need to step it up again. Brandon Podziemski had a good game, so that's always a positive for them in terms of a guy that can step up. But overall, Golden State, once Steph went down, you always felt like there were going to be extreme issues on both ends of the floor, offensively, especially because you don't have that guy who's has the shooting ability, has the movement to open up and create shots without even needing to handle the ball. Like the gravity that Steph pulls within that Golden State offense and the terror that he creates for opposition teams just isn't there anymore. And it turns Golden State into a team that is a lot more guardable. So I think congratulations to Minnesota. They needed to handle business and they won 4 straight. It was a simple procedure. They handled their business. Now they can get through to the conference finals and enjoy scouting either team in Denver or OKC, who at this point look like they're in it for the long haul. Yeah. So Minnesota will have some rest. They'll need to keep themselves ready in a sense, because if you wait too long, sometimes you wait too long, you have a layoff of a few days too much, then you come out sluggish. So they'll have to find a way in themselves to maintain their sharpness and be ready for that challenge, which is going to be strong in a Denver Nuggets side who could come out of that series, or a young OKC team who are ready and are raring to go, and in that sense are in a similar position as the Minnesota Timberwolves, as a side who are hungry to prove that they are ready for the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say one thing though. I guarantee we're gonna win the championship. I guarantee we gonna win the championship. You see, Draymond. You see, look, this is my issue. Writing checks that you're behind can't cash. You're writing checks that Steph has to cash. The reality of the situation is, man, like them going home, it's a very difficult situation because they've been straddling the fence a lot, their front office, in terms of how did they extend the championship window for Draymond and Steph. And the fact of the matter is that for me, I'm looking at Steve Kerr and I'm saying to myself, you got to trust in your young players. It all fell apart when Draymond punched Jordan Poole because Jordan Poole was a good contributor on that championship run. It fell apart from there. And of course, it would have been quite acrimonious, for them to be like, Draymond, you did this, you have to leave. But that was probably the right move to make. Because at the end of the day, somebody, I don't care how many championships you've won, you're breaching conduct within our group. And you're creating such a terrible culture, right? And it's like, some of them young guys, right? I was joking at points during last season, especially. I was like, some of them young guys are scared of Draymond, scared of the old guard. Like they're like them old guys, that they were good, they're washed now, they're still hanging around, and you're just like, bro, like, can you just move on? Like, I don't want you man around me, like, but you can't do nothing.
You know the ones there, where the Bulls kicked out of the cage, and then you got this OG that walks up, you ask him to dash it back in. Next thing you know, he's yeeting that ball into the universe. For what reason? Why?
Bro, it's like at the end of the day, and what they've done is now they've kind of locked themselves into a little 2-year window now, where Jimmy Butler's there. He's also aging. He's 35, 36, I think now. So it's like you're really banking on a 35 or 36-year-old Steph, a 35, a 36-year-old Jimmy Butler, a 35, a 36-year-old Draymond Green, and saying, here's the championship. Like, you're gonna have to really surround that team with some really good players, and I just don't think they can do it. At the end of the day, they've got to invest in the likes of Przemski, Kuminga. I think they can move off of Moses Moody. I don't think he's contributed at any level that that they need to. Buddy Hield, obviously, that experiment didn't work out. Gary Payton may have to also, he's come back for a second time round, but I don't think he can produce at the level that, I think that they need coming off the bench. He needs to be able to do more offensively. You can't have guys in the NBA now who are just, can be energy and defensive guys that have a lot of minutes or a good chunk of minutes like off the bench. Like, you have to be able to do something on both ends of the floor. It's not just on one side. So unless your name is Luka Doncic, but that's another story for another time. Like, the reality of the situation is they need to retool in a way that solidifies their future, because Steph, Jimmy, Draymond won't be around forever. And if they don't, what they need to do is maybe shorten that rotation, because that's another thing I don't like about Steve Kerr. He has a really long rotation. Sometimes it's like they don't even know what they need to do. They don't know how, they ain't got chemistry. It's like, and I get why he does it, but I hate it so much. I prefer shorter rotations. That's me. Just because guys get continuity, they can understand what they need to do. They know what their role is. They know what their job is. Week in, week out, night in, night out. Steve Kerr ain't doing that. So guys are coming onto the court, and then you're hoping something comes out of it. And it's just like, it's just not going to work. And this is what's happened. You've ended up now losing in one of the most embarrassing fashions that you could. Losing 4 in a row is winning 4 in a row. Winning 4 in a row is hard in the playoffs, right? But to lose 4 in a row is also tough. But here's what it is. Let's get into some more comments, man, because before we move on to the next topic. Big up to Scorched in here saying the JB-led Celtics are fire, gangrene. I'm telling you, it's not over yet. Big up to yourself. Big up to yourself. Moss saying keep defending, going Lou Dort, Montreal baller. Come on. How about the Pacers? Hey, we're gonna talk about them in the next topic. They are doing something different down there in Indiana.
Setting pace.
Ant-Man becoming a legend. Him and Halliburton, Indiana, back to a final again too. The review saying Kobe didn't cry. High Yellow was howling. Hey, relax on my guy JT, Randall's been good, so is McDaniels. they got KD, but we got Jaden McDaniels. Yeah, and knew something. I'm telling you now, Jaden McDaniels is actually like he's improved so much as a player. It's crazy. Big up to man like, and then we're gonna shine regardless. Just stop talking, bro. When Curry hype is back, Jimmy Butler when the lights are bright, looking scary. Draymond's better at throwing a punch than he is at making a layup. Hey, I mean, I guarantee we gonna win the championship. I don't know what he thought it was like. This is 2 years in a row. He's come on national TV and said the same thing and gone home in the playoffs. It's over. It's so over.
Now, you know what? I'm glad you reminded me of this, because at the time I thought it was hilarious. How can bro, your championship aspirations lie on one Wardell Stephen Curry, and you come out on your podcast, big chest, big chest,
I said Wardell.
Garrett, nah, man. Man's coming out here doing Chuck guarantees, bro. This ain't what it is.
By the way, Philly's back. We're gonna trade up and get Cooper Flag. See you later, PG. No, you're going to pay him the next 4 years of his $200 million contract, and he's gonna be podcasting.
You will get the best of Paul George, the best of both worlds. Podcast P on your podcast network. What is it? Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. If they have a Google Podcast, YouTube Podcasts, every single podcast platform. You need it, you got it. Podcast P.
Pandemic P is coming back.
Yeah. Don't do my guy like that,
Hey, lockdown.
Because
lockdown.
Listen. On the side, Paul George is my guy, bro. But if you mention Pandemic P, bro, the only thing that pops up in my mind is the side of the backboard ball game, and I can't rep PG because I'll just start laughing. So don't do that, man.
Hey, all I know is, hey, Philly, you're not back up, man. It's gonna be interesting. They got a high pick as well, man. But the timelines in that team is looking crazy right now. I can't lie to you. So I don't know, man. Your season's gonna be interesting next year, though. Big up to NN. What will be the excuse? Jokic is tired, though. And we're gonna talk about. He is tired. He's been carrying that team, The rest of them, they need to step up for him tonight. Otherwise, it's over. As I said last week, did you not see him? He was in the huddle, bruv.
Bro.
The coach was sitting on the side, fam. He was doing the huddle, bro. He's carrying them, bruv.
It's tough, innit? Because in this series, Nikola Jokic hasn't been at his best offensively now. He had a good game. He hasn't been at his best the entire time. But it's like Aaron Gordon's probably been the most consistent source of support.
Yeah.
Other than a Jokic. Jamal Murray's had a few good games. MPJ's been really streaky in terms of his contributions on the court. Christian Brown has had a couple of good contributions as well. Russell Westbrook. But, I mean, it's tough. It's tough because when you're Nikola Jokic, and I know everybody mentions this thing where, when he's the guy that's the main source of scoring, scores a whole load of points, and you take away his assists and those other contributions in terms of getting other guys involved, Denver don't exactly have a wonderful record in that sense. But when other guys aren't stepping up, what can you do? You need to keep your team in the game. You need to keep your team afloat. And it's just been one of those series for both teams, to be fair, where it's an absolute fight. It's a scrap. Both teams probably feel like either one who gets out of this is probably going on to be a champion. Not getting too ahead of themselves, but I feel like either Denver or OKC are the front runners. And Minnesota are going to have a tough run. They're a good team, but it's going to be tough. with the level of basketball that we're seeing in this series.
Because matchup wise, the Timberwolves, I won't lie, they matched up well with the two teams that they played, so they were able to just overpower them. I don't think that happens this time in the Western Conference Final with either team they play. So that's going to be interesting. But let's move on to some more topics, man. The Pacers, back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals for the Indiana Pacers. They come through the series against the Cavs 4-1, and now we got two sides to this, man. We talk about the Pacers. So, like, a great job by Rick Carlisle, his coaching staff, and that team to go from a shaky start to the season to really storm through to 50 wins and then come through two difficult series, because their side of the draw was quite, when we looked at it on paper, and obviously we shouldn't be looking at things on paper, but when we looked at it on paper, it was a very difficult side. You have to go through Giannis and the Bucks, and then Donovan Mitchell and that stacked Cavs team, and they've come through both of them 4-1, 4-1 to get to an Eastern Conference Finals. And a lot of people were writing them off from the beginning. They didn't think they were going to get this far. And then you've got star performances across the board. Shout out to Tyrese Halliburton. He blocked out all of the noise. He's come back strong after, injury troubles in terms of like his seasons over the last couple of seasons. And he's producing at a high level. Miles Turner, shout out to him. I remember him in the in-season tournament last year when they lost to the Lakers. Anthony Davis was ragdolling him in the paint. He was ragdolling him. And this guy's come back stronger, right, to be a stronger presence in the paint, and he's still shooting that three ball at a high clip. Shout out to him. He is going into free agency. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. He gets 18 million a year. I'm sure. I don't think he's going to get the max of his deal, but he's going to get paid somewhere. So he's 27 years old. He's in the prime of his career. It's an interesting situation there. They've got young talent like Jarish Walker, Benedict Mathurin, Siakam. Obviously, we know what he can do on the court. The championship experience. He's helped this team a lot since moving from Toronto. So it's really good to see. Obviously, Aaron Nesmith, I know him well. Former Celtic player. He's improved a lot as a player. You see him now defensively. He has it all together. He's connected with every single player on the court. He used to get himself into a lot of foul trouble because he's too handsy. He's trying to get the ball and get interceptions and steals. Now he's more patient defensively and it's helping the team. Obi Toppin, shout out to him. We all thought that he was just an alley-oop merchant, but he's shooting three balls from the corner. He's getting on the inside. I've seen him do the Dr. J behind the back layup. I'm seeing him do all of this type of stuff. I'm like, yeah, different.
I was watching the game. I saw him hit a free with a degree of difficulty, and I was like, hold on a second. Is this the Obi Toppin that I knew?
Hey. I mean, look, shout out to them. How well have their team done to be able to achieve a back-to-back Eastern Conference Final, bro?
Last season they spoke about position by circumstance. You can't say that anymore. No. They had a good regular season. By the way, shout out to the Manchecutioner. It's been a minute. Shout out to the Manchecutioner. It's been a minute. It's good to see you in the comments.
Big up.
Yeah, man. The Indiana Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton, I heard that he had the first 30-point game of this postseason. That speaks to how well-rounded they are as a team. You speak about Miles Turner, a guy that's been, it feels like every single season they're speaking about this guy in trade rumors. So, you've mentioned his free agency. That's going to be interesting. But Pascal Siakam, I've been a big fan of him from his Toronto days. That's it. 2019 championship season, that was legit. And he was a big piece in that with the likes of Kawhi and Freddie VanVleet. And, I know Chino don't like him. A shout out to Kyle Lowry. After shout out to Kyle Lowry because he gets disrespected by Chino. Chino's not here. So I'm going to vouch for the PG, man. Gotta stand up for the small PGs association. But they're a great overall team. And I'm not going to let injuries cloud my judgment on this Cleveland Cavaliers team, right? 64 wins. I love what Mr. Atkinson has done over there in Cleveland with the likes of Evan Mobley, DPOY this year.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But we've had this conversation in the past on this show. And I mentioned the mentality of some of these young guys on the roster. Yeah. And this has been the thing for me. Every single time I see these guys step up in the playoffs, I'm wondering, when is somebody going to take responsibility other than Donovan Mitchell? Because for me, I watched Darius Garland out there. It's a puppy dog. Mobley, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because at least he's trying out there offensively. He's giving you something on both ends of the floor. I need to see more from Garland. Jarrett Allen, it's not all the way there, is it? So I'm seeing all these guys, right? And Donovan Mitchell was brought into this team. The lights. Look. If it's too bright, turn it off. It's fine, bro. They can still see me. If the lights are too bright, just turn it off, bro. You can even switch off this one. Now you're seeing the green screen glitching, bro. Because Donovan Mitchell was brought in to put these guys over the hump. To give this Cavs team, who were growing, who were elevating, to say, look, this is the guy we're bringing in. Now it's go time. This is your opportunity to start dominating the Eastern Conference and going toe-to-toe with the likes of Milwaukee, with the likes of Boston, with the likes of the New York Knicks. And again, this season, this postseason, when their backs are against the wall, and I know Darius Garland's had an injury, Hunt has been out with an injury for a little bit, and so forth. Mobley was out as well. But still, when your backs are against the wall and their offense wasn't going, it's always Donovan Mitchell to pick up the defibrillator and try and revive, get the heart beating again, bro. Can somebody else step up, please? Because I'm looking at this, yeah. Donovan Mitchell 8 for 25. Now, he did miss the free throws, but still, he's trying to give them a shot, to get them going. Nothing's working. Garland, 0 for 6 from 3, 4 for 16 from the field, bro. Max Strus, who sent a message trying to tell everybody it's time. It's time to 0 for 9.
The gun jammed.
Bro, Max Strus 0 for 9 from the field. That's all I can say. And when I said, you know what, we might even need to show the video on stream, you know.
Ty Jerome. No. Ty Jerome. Him. The first player. I seen a tweet. It was hilarious. They said he's going to be the first player to ever get a minimum contract. The min, bro. Not the max. The min.
Like, for me, it is extremely, and heading into the postseason, you hear all of the murmurs. Everybody's speaking about the Cavaliers like they're not a legitimate side. They're not a legitimate top team in this league. So it's up to you. When people are speaking about Tyrese Halliburton, he's taking that personal, bro. They called him overrated. Let me show you what's overrated. The Cleveland Cavaliers. And I will not ever, I wasn't convinced this season, and I will never, ever be convinced by the Cleveland Cavaliers. That is my vendetta. That is my agenda, bro. Just like Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks, the Cleveland Cavaliers are marked. They are marked, and that will never change, because ultimately they're a team that will do well in the regular season, and then they will die. You will hear beep, and then you got Donovan Mitchell doing everything he can with the defibrillator in one hand and another one and a basketball in the next hand, trying to revive his teammates while trying to shoot to keep his team in the game. It ain't good enough. And they've went outside again. It's a sad situation for the state of Cleveland. It's a sad situation for the team. Donovan Mitchell's one of my favorite players from when he was in Utah. In terms of his playing style, the ability to win hasn't been all there just yet. But you can't put all of the blame on him ultimately, because the young guys that are supposed to be stepping up and joining him in this dance, they're not two-stepping with the same level of rhythm as Donovan Mitchell, bro. When he's doing the two-step to the right, they're going left. When he's moving forwards, they're moving backwards. And that just seems like the overall theme of this Cavaliers team. When it matters most, mentally, a lot of those guys shut down.
I'm just gonna say this. Look, everybody in here saying the right things in the comments. Yeah, look. Riri saying the regular season ain't the playoffs. Me, I was never convinced by this Cavs team. I said that they will get into these playoffs and get punched in the mouth for the first time, right? And they came crashing down. I said it, like, I was waiting for it. But at the same time, you're looking at their record, you're like, yeah, you got it. Like, but when the court gets smaller in the playoffs and you're playing half court basketball, you can't be shooting threes. You're not the Celtics. We can do it. But anyway, we'll leave it there. Let me get into some more comments. We'll move on. I ain't got nothing else to say. Donovan Mitchell's doing all the work. Garland is out here front running. He's the true front runner, if we're being totally honest. He's the weakest link on the defense. Every time a team plays them, they're picking on him. Don't talk to me about Evan Mobley. Last year, Evan Mobley didn't do nothing for them. This year, he stepped up great. But still, it's not enough. Jarrett Allen, it's over. From the moment you said the lights are too bright, we will forever look at you in that manner. Ty Jerome! See, look, you see, you're making him turn his lights off. Man is glitching out here. You see Ty Jerome? Max Strus. Find your way. Find your way. It's over. You can't be there anymore.
Bro, sending a broadcast message on WhatsApp to do that.
You better come correct you on 0 for 9.
Bro, broadcast message.
0 for 9. You may have to. Cancun is too good for you. You gotta go somewhere else. I don't know where, but somewhere else you gotta go. Riri saying, I said this any team was gonna battle. Big up to the Manchukushner once again. Make sure you're hitting the like button in here, people. Yeah, we balled out last night. It's one game at a time. Game 6 tomorrow. Let's go. Big up to Super Nick in here. Big up the dynamic duo. They're saying Wisa and Mbeumo is back in the building again.
Hey. Go and let the handshake. What is it?
Ty Jerome saying put the fries in the back. Yeah, you got to, man. It's over, man. You got to find something, man. Go do something else. Nico Harrison gonna pass up one flag. I think they'll kill him if they did that. I think the city of Dallas will kill him if he did that. That's the thing. It's interesting to see what they'll do. I wonder. But we'll talk about it in a bit. We got another topic to go into. Okc-Denver game 6 tonight.
Yeah.
The series is poised for OKC to take that win in Denver, similar to what they did on Sunday night, and go through to the Western Conference Finals to face the Timberwolves and go one step further on their journey of reaching that ultimate goal of becoming NBA champions and probably the youngest NBA champions in history to do it. But tonight, they face a formidable challenge. Are we going to have the breakout game of Nikola Jokic, where we haven't really had? He struggled defensively because of the defense of OKC. throwing bodies and guys at him, making it tough for him to make reads, to make plays. And even from three, he's been really not getting those opportunities. He hasn't shot well from three at all.
Until last game.
Until last game, of course. Until last game. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens because like CM said, bro, like Aaron Gordon has been the most consistent. And the thing about it is interesting, right? I love basketball for the fact that players can really channel their emotion in positive ways, right? He's going for a tough time with his family, like lost his brother to a car accident this year, and then he's having to take care of his brother's family essentially, right? And he's channeling that to give Denver everything he can on the floor. You've seen him clutch play throughout these playoffs so far. He needs some help. Russ is the only guy who's giving help off the bench. Everybody else is like, we're not sure. Let's see what they can do. As for OKC, Shai's not had the best playoff so far, and we were looking at the rest of the team and we're saying, who's going to step up? Jalen Williams had a career night. I think it was game 2. Game 2, career playoff high of 33 or 32 points. I think it was game 2. Was it game 1 or game 2? I think it was game 1. Anyway, no, it's game 2. Definitely game 2. But he's been really good. He's been slashing and driving to the rim at will. He's been doing really well. Caruso showing the defensive prowess why they brought him in. Chet Holmgren's been okay. I don't think he's been great. But Isaiah Hartenstein, yeah, he's been cleaning up on the boards. Second chance points. Drawing fouls. Going to the free throw line. Lou Dort, he's been okay on the offensive end. Defensively, though, oh yeah, he's been on it. And it's going to be interesting to see if they can close it out tonight. Bro, take it away. Man. Can OKC close it out tonight?
I think we can. But we'll have to first and foremost, it's going to be interesting. I think Jamal Murray will play. He is questionable for the game. They had a decent performance last time out. Jokic, of course, with a 44-pointer. That was probably his best performance offensively in the series thus far, and he was hitting some difficult shots, the type we expect from him. Russell Westbrook, their bench, as you mentioned, struggled last game. They didn't really get a lot of contributions, which makes it even more important for their starters to step up. And for me, Michael Porter Jr., he hasn't been consistent. I know he's struggling with his shoulder, but at times he's shooting the ball well. At times he's 1 for 7, like he was in game 5. Aaron Gordon has been a pretty consistent enough performer in terms of his shooting. Didn't shoot the ball well either. So I expect him to bounce back as well. And Christian Brown needs to be a lot better as well on the offensive end. For OKC, Lou Dort hit some big shots in game 5. That's something we're going to need from him again if we want to close out this series. Shai, even though at times he hasn't been at his best, what he does extremely well as a leader is play with poise. You're never going to see him too high, too low. He's going to lead by example. He's going to take the shots that he knows he works on. Essentially, he's not going to try to overdo it, but at the same time, he's going to assert himself as the star and try and get his guys involved. And I think in a lot of the situations, we see these quiet 30-point games from Shai, where we don't even notice that he's been there, but he's always there. And eventually, he will need to have that statement game in the playoffs to put a stamp on this postseason. And I hope that will be today or tonight, should I say. Jalen Williams, I'm hoping for a big game from him, up and down offensively from time to time. So and even last postseason, I remember that development from him is about being a consistent threat on the offensive end, especially in the postseason. And Chet Holmgren is also learning those lessons from time to time too. But you mentioned Isaiah Hartenstein. I loved that acquisition because he was a guy that we needed in many ways in terms of his rebounding, but also his ability to play make, from his position, which was much needed. So he's been a key contributor. And Alex Caruso, of course, can't speak enough about his impact on this team as a leader, on the defensive end, as a ball handler as well, a guy that can take the ball out of Shea's hands, out of Jalen Williams and so forth's hand, and orchestrate an offense and put things together. So this is a well-rounded OKC team. When the series was tied at 2 apiece, I was slightly worried about where this series would go, especially if we went 3-2 down. But we ended up winning game 5. And all of a sudden, there's that confidence that can come in. Yep. But they can't go into this game overconfident because we know where we are. We're in Denver. And I feel like the OKC team, the OKC players, they got an experience. They've went through the adversity that we've needed to go through in this postseason, in this series alone. And I feel like they'll be better prepared to go into Denver and to get a result. It won't be easy, but I hope we can close out this series and avoid a game 7 in a few days' time. But I mean, I'm excited. SK, he's saying, as an OKC fan, Westbrook chip window is limited. Let him have this one. The team is young ways next year. Nothing's guaranteed. Listen, there's nothing more I would love for Russell Westbrook to get a championship, but not at our expense. Sorry, bro. But not at our expense. Nothing is guaranteed in this league. We've seen teams that we've said, yeah, they've got a bright future, and all of a sudden, in the next 1 to 2 years, it's being broken up. Yep. We may look at this OKC team and say, yeah, they've got a bright future, but maybe in a few years' time, once that financial situation gets a little more difficult, all of a sudden, tough decisions have to be made. And if we don't take advantage of the years now where we're ascending and we're one of the best teams in the Western Conference, because these last 2 seasons, for me, people may say this season was the season we established ourselves, but it really started from last year. We got a bit of experience on our belt, but this year now is the season where everybody's expecting us to make that deep playoff run and our championship contenders. We can't take those moments for granted, not one bit, because like OKC teams of the past, great things come to an end eventually. Golden State had a dynasty. Great things. They were lucky to win 4 championships, but great things come to an end eventually. And sometimes you don't even come close to winning a championship, much less 4. So, look, in all of these years where OKC was out of the game, I was rooting for Russell Westbrook to win a championship and get over the hump, but not at our expense this year. It has to be us, never them.
It's gonna be interesting, man, because like you can see the maturity in the team, right? They are really battling out with this Denver team, who, in my opinion, they were top 3 in the West this year. Like, not from just position wise, just the way, just you stacking the teams up against each other. It's OKC, it's Denver, and then I was like, the third team, you just don't know. You could pick. The Timberwolves obviously have shown that they are one of the premier teams in the West, so you could throw them in there, and those are the top 3 teams in the West. And it's like we're literally down to those 3 now. But OKC's maturity has surprised me a lot in this run, where there's been moments where they could have fallen apart late in game 4, in game 4 specifically on Sunday when I was watching that game. I was like, yeah, they actually were mature in this situation, because they could have easily just wilted, right? You're on the road in Denver. It's 2-1 in the series. It's close in the 4th quarter, and then defensively you tie things up, and then you go on a little run, and the game's over. They could have easily wilted because a young team, the pressure's getting to you, the fans are on top of you. You don't know what to do, but everyone stay connected. Mark Daigneault's got his troops ready to go. And right now, they're poised to make it to a Western Conference Finals. Like, they are poised. I just wonder what's going to happen tonight. It's going to be a big game, and I can't wait. But we got one more topic before we get out of it. The draft lottery took place on Monday night before the Celtics game 4 against the Knicks. And the Dallas Mavericks somehow, some way, got the number 1 pick over teams like the Utah Jazz, the San Antonio Spurs, the Washington Wizards, the Charlotte Hornets. All very bad teams. And Dallas get the number 1 pick. In my eyes, it's a fix. It's rigged. We have seen this before. Anthony Davis traded to the Lakers. The following year, the Pelicans get the number 1 pick. Zion Williamson comes in. We've seen this happen before. Is Nico Harrison the luckiest man on the planet right now? What's your thoughts on this, bro? Why are they the number 1 pick? Why?
He's either the smartest businessman or the luckiest man in the world now. If I speak, we may be in trouble. So I'll leave it to the interpreters. My disliking for the Dallas Mavericks organization is deep. It's deep. Now they get the first pick after trading away Luka Doncic. Everybody saying it's the worst, and still is an incredibly bad trade. But when you look into the context of what happens to Anthony Davis, what happens to Kyrie Irving and their season ultimately when it was supposed to be win now, they get the first pick in the NBA draft. So big decisions are to be made moving forward, right? Because instantly people are speaking about what Dallas are going to do with that pick. Are they going to trade it away to try and enhance this roster, like you said to me off stream, bro? Are they going to try and go all in? Now, me personally, I've seen how that's worked out for certain organizations in the last 5 to 7 years. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You've already given away your future once. You're given a beacon of hope. Make sure you don't make the same mistake twice, essentially, because I still think that Luka Doncic trade was a mistake. But you can choose the route of ensuring your future, which is the one that I would lean towards. Whoever they decide to pick, everybody assuming if it's that first pick is Cooper Flag, then the hope is that you have a star that you can refresh the franchise with and move forward with. Ultimately, he's going to go into a difficult situation because he's going into a team that are trying to win right now. And whether that works out or not, we'll see come next season. But ultimately, it's not going to be a team where he's going to have the keys, essentially. No. So it's going to be interesting to see if that plays out, what the situation will be and how Jason Kidd and so forth will approach that situation heading into the new season. But yeah, what a moment it is for the Dallas Mavericks. And we've seen the conversations, bro. Things are looking slightly booky. Adam Silver, I'm not going to ask any questions, innit? The National Basketball Association, all of them man that are just silently watching with the snipers on the top of the building because you're talking too much. We didn't say a word. We said nothing. We're not insinuating a thing. We're just relaying some messages that are circling on the internet. I'll leave it there. A shout out to the San Antonio Spurs, Philadelphia 76ers, Charlotte Hornets. It's tough for you. Utah Jazz, it's tough for you. Washington Wizards, it's really tough for you. I'm looking at some of those teams. Guys don't want to be there in the first place, but you're hoping that somehow your franchise will be blessed with an opportunity to rise out of obscurity. And maybe that still may happen. You never know. Not every top pick is successful. Sometimes you get those picks that are in between when it or late in the lottery. Sometimes even outside of the lottery to change your fortunes. We're speaking about a guy like Nikola Jokic in Denver.
Yeah.
So you just never know what the situation could be. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, 1.8% odds, and
It's
you get the
crazy.
number one pick.
It's crazy. Like
I wish the lottery was like this for us, bro. Because by then, let me tell you, if I had 1.8% odds and the green light was there, see all those people in the comments, they might never see me again. I'll holler at you, the GC, bro. I'll put up an AI version of myself so we can hold it down with the big three.
Oh man, I think it's a fix, man. I'm sorry, bro. It's a fix. Like the reality of the situation is fixed. There's no way that I seen Utah Jazz like they were doing special tanking, bro. They were trying to tank. Danny Ainge was like, bring that white boy over to Utah. Bring him. And it didn't happen. You know he's pissed right now. He's pissed.
And you see, like
he was about to go be the star in Utah.
I think this is a lesson now, you know. See, they're sending a message to these teams that are going out here and they're doubling down on tanking.
Yeah.
They're telling you, you will not get it. From when they changed the rules around the odds and stuff like that a few years back, that was just the beginning. But now, there's calls going on in the front offices, in the big offices, the head offices. They're saying, make sure this team, you know, because when I decided to tune into League Pass, when I went on these TV programs being interviewed by these people asking me what I need to do to improve the NBA product, visibility, viewership, and all of these things, and I'm tuning into League Pass or I'm traveling over to a game and watching these guys purposely lose, you think I'm going to reward you for that? Nah.
It's crazy, man. Like, teams being purposely bad so that they can get the pick. It's like, you got to do it the way that Detroit did it this year. You got young players, surround them with some good veteran talent, and get a coach that's committed to a style of basketball and coach your asses off so that they can get to a good position. Like, the reality of the situation is, look, you're right. You can't reward failure. That does not make it a competitive league. It doesn't. But, you know, for certain things, you know, like, because obviously Wembanyama, that was a race. Well, we all know where it was going. We all know what was happening. They had to give it to the Spurs because the Spurs, they're a historic franchise within basketball. So, you know, you have a legendary coach down there. The story fit the NBA. So that happened. As for this Cooper Flag one, they was like, nah, let's cook up some stories now. Because now the situation is he's a young player going into that situation. If they keep him around, there's a timeline that works there where they've got Lively, they've got him, and then they can get themselves a young up and coming point guard potentially in the league to start their rebuild. Because at the end of the day, you can't, like, Clay, Kyrie coming back from his ACL, which we don't know how that's going to look, and a perennially injured Anthony Davis, they're not winning anything. I'm sorry, they just won't. They just won't win anything. They're all great players in their own right. They've done things in their career. They've won championships, but at this point in their careers, they are not winning together. So it is what it is, right? But do they trade that number one pick now and say, you know what? Giannis, let's do it big. One last dance.
Apparently,
The Bucks
Apparently,
need
he wants to
assets.
stay in the East.
Yeah, I know. But if he stays in the East, there's only one place he's going. He's going to New York. I'm telling you. Not Miami. None of this Miami talk that they all think that's going to happen down there in South Beach. He ain't going there, man. You have to give up everything then. Who's going to be there left? He going to New York. If he leaves the Bucks and he's going to New York. Riri, I know you want him down in Miami, but he's going to New York, man.
South
His
Beach.
family, him and his family, you know, they've been out with the stroller, you know what I mean? Like, they're out in New York doing the strolling in the streets. Like, come on, man. You know he wants to be in the Big Apple. But what if Nico Harrison does the trade of all trades and shocks us 2 times in a year, bruv, and says, you know what? Bucks, take the number 1 pick and Cooper flag. Yeah, rebuild your squad. Let me get Giannis. Now I got Giannis, AD, Kyrie, Clay, and I don't have the rest of the squad. Everybody's on the minimum contract. Everybody else has to go. We'll give you everything. We'll give you Jaden Hardy. We'll give you Daniel Gafford. We'll give you Lively. We'll give you whoever else is in that team, bro. I don't even know. Quentin Grimes, we'll give you him too. No, Quentin Grimes is in Philly. Quentin Grimes is in Philly, my bad. Whoever else.
Sacrificing depth for top-heavy talent. I've seen that somewhere. I really have seen that somewhere. And you know how it ended? You know how those situations ended? In tears. In tears, bro. Teams getting broken up. Teams being decimated into bite-sized pieces. You already got it bad in Dallas, Mr. Nico. Mr. Ray's eyebrow. Mr. Let It Go at the top of your head dome.
He looked like the meme with the dog. Let me show you. He looked like this meme.
Listen, hey,
let me show you. He looked like the meme with the dog, fam. I'm telling you.
Listen. Shout out to Yank. It's been a minute.
Yeah, big up Yank. He's stressed right now. They're starting. He's so stressed. He's stressed. He's stressed.
Yeah, I mean, that is, if you know what's good for you, don't try and shock the world twice, innit? That's all I'm saying.
Shock it.
Yeah, no,
shock it.
Yeah, listen. For once, I'm trying to look out for the fans, bro, because these people were out here, outside the arena, mourning the loss of a superstar. They don't need to see any more pain, man.
They're gonna get another superstar. That's what I'm trying to say. Giannis is going Dallas, bro. Giannis, AD, Kyrie, Klay Thompson, and nobody else has to play. The fans can take up the spot. The fans can take the roster spot. It's gonna be 12 spots. There's 7 spots left for you, man. Hey, fight out for the death, bro. We can get some guys that can hoop, bro. That's it.
Yeah. I'll say no more, yeah. 24-hour fitness settings.
24-hour fitness settings. I'm telling you, them man are gonna take over the spots. Because that team's gonna be expensive. Hey. But hey, it's worth it. One last dance, bro.
One last dance. Bro, who's dancing?
Just Giannis. Giannis is the only one.
Everybody brought down, brethren.
Giannis is dancing, fam. I'm telling you.
Giannis
bro.
Yeah.
Nah, that's hilarious. That's hilarious, man. Hey. Big up to everyone, man. That's it, man. We done for today and the show. Big up to everybody that's come through. Make sure you watch it back on the playback as well, man. Like, we've been having fun these last couple of weeks. The playoffs are heating up. There's still so much basketball to be played. It's actually unreal. It's been one of the best playoffs in recent memory. And we still ain't finished yet, you know. There's still some games happening. So stay tuned. But before we get out of here, people, CM, let the people know where they can find you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at CM22ENT, YouTube and TikTok. Make sure you hit a like on this video, subscribe to Pros Only Sports, big things ahead. But instead of focusing on me, I would like to turn off the lights for one final time to commemorate the end of the Cleveland Cavaliers postseason. A successful regular season indeed. 64 wins in the East. One of the best teams, of course. But once again, the lights are too bright.
I want to dedicate the outro to one person and one person only. I guarantee we gonna win the championship. I guarantee we gonna win the championship. Big up to man like Draymond Green, man. Stop writing them checks, man. Steph ain't gonna save you all the time, bro. It's over. It's over in that franchise. You gotta start again, reset, reboot. It's over.
Bankruptcy, bro. File for bankruptcy.
I don't care what year he said. He said it this year and last year. Came on TV twice and embarrassed himself both times. It's over. It's over. Hey, big up to everybody, man. Hit the like button, subscribe button as well if you're new. Notification, bro. We out. Peace.